Says we're streaming live on YouTube.
Yes, we are. Let's see. All right, so welcome to another Ask the OT with Gina Grothoff, where we talk about the different questions that people might have about their aging loved one, about caregiving, about all the different um, places in between.
Do we have any questions today?
Let me take a look and I will let you know.
So I'm Gina Grothoff. I've been an occupational therapist for 32 years. I moved to Charlotte after graduating from Elizabethtown College with a degree in occupational therapy and worked in adult rehabilitation and continued to do so in various settings of adult and what turned into primarily geriatric rehab. Along with my professional experience, I helped to care for my father, who survived with Parkinson's for nearly 18 years before he passed just uh, two
Not
months
too
ago.
long ago. Yeah.
And he also dealt with advanced dementia in his later years with Parkinson's. He did not have dementia from the start. And helping my mother to navigate the journey as well as for most of those years. I mean, she was his primary caregiver until the last couple months when we moved him to a memory care facility. And so I have the personal experience in navigating the healthcare system for a loved one. And not only for my father, who had many trips to the hospital and short-term rehab over the past 2 years, but also for my husband and his multiple trips to the hospital for 2 heart attacks and open heart surgery. And the last time he decided, oh, what the heck, I'll have a stroke too.
Yeah.
And so navigating the differences in caring for a spouse versus your parent and how different that looks. For me, you expect your parents to get older. You kind of, you know, my dad was 82. You anticipate that. With your partner, you feel like you're on equal ground. You don't anticipate becoming their caregiver when you say for better or for worse. Um, and yet, you never know. And none of us do. A car accident, um, sudden illness can strike at any age. And you step up and you step into a new position, and it shifts the relationship. It changes things. uh, and it just adds a whole nother layer of complexity. And we all juggle many things in our life, our personal life, professional life, our family life. We also have 3 children who are currently decorating our Christmas tree and navigating their journey and helping to guide them, whatever that looks like. And it's varied greatly for all 3 of them. And so it's just a big balancing act.
What is it? What does it feel like having not having somebody here?
That feels very heavy right now.
Yeah.
I know right after he passed, I felt like I lost a job. Um, because I moved him close to my house the last 3 months of his life. Um, and I was there several days a week, um, having meals with him, helping to care for him, helping to take him to the bathroom, take him for walks. And it just feels odd.
Yeah.
Um, that that he's not here.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, I don't know. I can't necessarily say it all, but I mean, it feels like there's a lightness that comes with it, but then there's the other side of it. There's like both, you have both sides of it.
Yeah, I've had people come up, oh, I'm so sorry, to hear about your dad. And I'm like, it's okay. He'd been suffering. He's not suffering anymore. And I'm realizing they're sorry for me, not for my dad.
Yeah,
And accepting that. Um, yeah, it sucks to lose someone you love. So,
yeah, yeah,
and especially with the holiday and I don't know, just a lot a lot to think about and it shifting a perspective. My mother is alive and doing well, living in independent living now, and she's 81 and being able to be there for her, whatever her needs might be, which um, are very minimal. In fact, she's been able to help me out quite a bit,
yeah,
which is a blessing. She's been able to pick up our daughter from school, and uh, so life just looks very different. I guess it feels a little different. Um, I know I
yeah.
drove to the assisted living a week or so ago, and just kind of an odd kind of feeling. We moved him here, and we didn't know how long he would have. And I hold to the memory of the last day I really spent with him when he was awake and alert. It was a beautiful day. We rolled out in his wheelchair onto the patio where he lived, had this beautiful front porch, covered front porch. And I put on some 50s and 60s music like we did. And he kept standing up at the porch, holding onto the rail, and kind of looking off into the distance in sort of a contemplative kind of way. We didn't say a whole lot. I remember he asked about how Don, the kids, he wanted to know that everyone was okay. And it was either that day or the next day. I helped him into his recliner chair. I had to get a staff person to help because he was weak. He had stopped eating for the most part, and then they helped get him in bed that night, and he stayed in bed for the remainder of his days. Um, but I just have that beautiful memory. Um, and so taking the time when you can, taking small moments, I'm just glad that we got to, I mean, I stayed on that porch we stayed there for a while. Um, and I just pictured us standing at the dock. I even talked to him about, I remember when our oldest was a baby or young and they lived at the lake and he would throw rocks over the railing. He'd stand out there with grandpa tossing rocks into the lake. And so I remember talking to my dad about that. And he was moving around that day. And it was just nearly a week later that he released himself from the pain and the suffering of his body. And so, no matter how difficult your journey is, it's not forever. It will change. It can get difficult, more difficult at times. It can get easier at times, and it can just get different. But having support systems in place, I remember I told my mom when we decided he would move here, we were going to get him settled before she moved. And I'm like, I've got support. My husband, I had two kids that drive. Our oldest lives 15 minutes from us. I have all the support in place to help me and to help um, my dad. And that was so important. It was important for my dad too, because it was for the longest time, either me or Don, you were there for my dad because my mother didn't move up for another month
About
and
a
a half.
month. Yeah.
something like that. Um, and so he had that connection with us more so than he had had in a long time. My sister came down several times, and we had some nice memories together despite the challenges of his last months. And so I'm sharing my own experiences, and I'd love to support you in your journey in caring for an aging loved one. Don and I would both love to work with you. We can work with you one-on-one. Please join Don in next Wednesday, Don.
Yep,
He's going to be
7 o'clock.
hosting his group tapping session. You can find out what tapping and EFT is all about and join in, listen in, or you can go to the website and pull up some of the videos of tapping and what it looks like. You always can watch our videos after the fact if you miss them, the ones that are live, and learn more about how helpful that can be for
I mean,
yourself.
I use the tapping within our program too in helping people because when you're dealing with this, you're dealing with not only the physical sides of it and the caregiving sides of it, you're also dealing with the mental side of it, the the stress that it causes, the the um, the ability to stay with it while you're doing it is can be difficult because there's a lot to it, especially if you don't have help in helping work through it. So I always use my power to help people get out of that place. And then being on her side, she gives the input of all the different, oh, much more than I as far as what there can be as far as questions and
Well, and practical advice as far as navigating the home, making things accessible, minimizing fall risk, promoting safety, but also bringing um, meaningful experiences to the person. Um, we had someone purchase a radio CD player for my dad, and we had music that we could play on it. And it was nice that we had that. My mom had been playing music for him when he was still at home with her. She had this relaxing music to play at night. And so whenever I was there at his bedtime or close to it, I put that music on, just that calming, that familiarity, and then just enjoying the other CDs of music that I know my dad loved and just watching him bop his foot along to the music.
well,
I
and we
some of
oh,
the
I'm
most
sorry.
moments that I spent with him in his last days, his last month.
Well, and we do have our podcast that we do every Thursday, and we've had some really interesting people on, like Tipa, who talked about how you communicate and how you can even making the last days better and doing things to help promote them and help them. That's what I've really enjoyed about our podcast, being able to talk to some of these people that really help people along and help them not just be in this place of caregiving and also of living together or not living together, but being together and see how they can make it more harmonious, you know. And I think that was something I think we did well for your dad too, in trying to keep it, you know, harmonious. I remember the one nurse said one time that she looked at me, you really treat your dad really well, and I said, well, he's a human being and he needs somebody to talk to him nicely and not yell at him. He doesn't know what he's doing, and I always thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I got a couple comments on just how the family really came together around him and just the support we provided for him. Teepa Snow was she's the amazing guru on dementia and caregiving that we got to interview. Please check out that interview. You can view it on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We did that not too long ago. And we've interviewed so many different people covering so many topics. Um, to gain more information, more insight, more ideas from other people. And all this information has been helpful to us on our journey, as it has been to providing help for others. And so we'd love for you to join us, to come back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. when we'll do another Ask the OT. You can join us live. You can submit your questions to us ahead of time, or connect with us to join in live on the call, to ask your questions, share your journey, your struggles. What challenges are you experiencing? What successes are you having? It's good to kind of take note of the, okay, this is frustrating me. I don't know what to do with this, but this is going well. This part of it I can accept, and kind of making a list for yourself to kind of take stock of where you are.
So kind of noisy back here, but I guess that we'll end it with that in saying that, we appreciate anybody that follows us either now or after the fact. And like I say, we have another one. Yeah, we actually have another one on Wednesday at noon, and then my one at 7 o'clock. So
I mixed up the times. Yeah, next Wednesday, the 11th Eastern Standard Time at noon, and Ask the OT, and next Wednesday at 7 p.m. the EFT group tapping session. So yes, please join us for both. Join us on our podcast. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.